Hey everyone, my name is Yarrow and you're listening to the DIY Small Business Podcast. I'm so glad you're here and I'm excited to bring you another solo episode all about masterminds. So I want to share about why I love them so much, why I think they are really an amazing way to receive support and accountability and make things happen in your business. And then I'll also share what to look for if you want to join one or start one yourself. So yeah, I have recently celebrated the first anniversary of the DIY Small Business School. That's been such a dream come true. I had been teaching online courses for 2 years before I started this program, but this was a really new venture. I wanted to offer a really affordable, community-based online program with community and really teach everything that I've learned in the last 4 years about online marketing and starting a small business and getting organized and DIY media and getting clear on your offerings and being creative and all these different things. And I also was really annoyed with the really, really expensive programs out there that are not financially accessible for many people. So I wanted to create an alternative that's a bit more DIY, where people also can really get to know each other. And then at the beginning of this year, after being on Teachable, we switched to Mighty Networks. So now there's a real community feel to it, which I love. So Mighty Networks is almost like its own little Facebook, and people have their profiles and can talk to each other, and there's different topics, and you can ask questions under the courses, so it's way more interactive. And then we also have the regular live workshops. But anyway, all this to say, as I've been celebrating the first birthday, I've also been thinking a lot about what has really worked and what hasn't. And I think what has really worked is that the course covers such a broad range of subjects and really takes people behind the scenes, where I'm sharing my screen and teaching how I'm doing things. And the other things I think that really works is to have more accountability and the chance to ask questions and get connected through the live workshops. But I think what's still really hard for many of us, and that totally includes me, is to show up and really implement the work and make time for all this information that we need to take in some way, when we don't have regular access to support and accountability and real connection with other humans. And it's tricky to create, obviously. As a course creator, I can tell you that it is energetically expensive, so to say, to offer a ton of one-on-one support, say to have office hours all the time, or to create these online workshops where people can show up in small groups. But I also at the same time really want to keep this course as accessible as possible. I don't really want it to become expensive. So yeah, that's kind of how I got thinking about masterminds some more. I've been reflecting on the ones that I've been in over the last 2 years, and the ones that have been amazing, and other ones that have been perhaps less fruitful, I would say. So I want to first begin by saying that I think the word mastermind is actually really weird and icky, and I just chose it for this episode because I think it means something to a lot of people, and you'll probably know exactly what I mean by that. So that was kind of my intention, but I think actually there's way more beautiful words for a group of people that's meeting to make stuff happen together. And I've recently recorded an episode for Daydream Rose, my other podcast with Janelle Hardy, who had some really, really cool ideas for what a mastermind could be called. So listen to that if you're interested. It's going to come out this Friday. But anyway, so 4 years ago, or 4.5 years ago, I joined a large business program online that was an 8-week course, and it also has a Facebook group that has thousands and thousands of people in it. And so if you want to think about a mastermind in a really broad way, you could say this Facebook group is one. And I've made some really cool connections in there. I certainly learned a lot and got inspired, by what people were doing. I got some questions answered. I answered a lot of questions myself. But overall, I would say that it's an overwhelming experience to be with so many people in an online space, and that there's not a lot of room for intimacy, I would say. So the first kind of real, in air quotes, mastermind I joined was 2 years ago over the summer. It was an 8-week program that was paid, and we were put together in a group with 3 other people, so there was always 4 of us, and we'd meet every Monday. I think it was 90 minutes or 2 hours, and each person would get a certain amount of time to talk, and then we would also hold each other accountable. So we were just sharing what was going on in our business, and then there was a little bit of guidance from the leader who put this mastermind together each week on what we could touch on and expand on and explore together. And that was really cool. I met some really great people, some of which I'm still in touch with, and it was a really cool way to kind of try things out. And what I liked about it was the sense of being in a team and, you know, having this creative exchange with other people without necessarily committing to a real collaboration, because especially at that point in my business, I was still finding my foot in some ways. You know, like I had been in business for 2 years, but I think the feeling that there's so much to figure out every single day never really leaves you. I still feel that way. So I just wasn't really ready yet to build a team or make a commitment to a long-term collaboration. And this way, I was still kind of like doing my own work, but I was meeting these people every week, and we made some really cool things happen together. So that was great, and I would do that again. I'm now also in a more informal one. Well, there's a lot of structure, but we found each other kind of just on the internet, which was really beautiful. So we were in a Facebook group together 2 years ago, and we kind of noticed each other. And then one of the other ones were like, hey, do you maybe want to be in a mastermind? We have similar kinds of businesses in different areas, and so we have so much to say to each other, and there's a real sense of like collaboration and solidarity and trust that has been built over time. So in the beginning, we would meet twice a month, the 4 of us, and just kind of each person getting 15 to 20 minutes to share what was up for them. And then there was space to give feedback or answer questions or just reflect to each other. And then we would see each other again 2 weeks later. Sometimes we also had themes, so we would talk about things like money or relationships or specific areas of our business, and then each person would contribute something that they had learned or that was currently on their mind. There's also obviously a lot of skills between the 4 of us, because we have done all these weird and amazing things in lots of different areas. So sometimes we have sessions where one person shares a specific skill or gives some kind of presentation, and that's really beautiful too. And honestly, I think this mastermind is so, I don't just think that, I know this mastermind is so close to my heart. Really love these people. I love how it's grown over time. We now also talk about all kinds of other things. It's not always just about business, and it just feels so nice to witness these other people on their journey over a longer period of time. We meet just monthly now, which kind of just works better for everyone, but I'm just excited every time I open Zoom and I see these faces. I'm just like, this is great. Because I think it's important to really feel seen in what we're doing, because so often it can feel lonely on social media, and it can feel overwhelming to have to make all these decisions and figure so much out by yourself. So to have this like structured, regular soundboard is really, really beautiful. A second mastermind I'm in is related to a course that I'm taking, so it's optional. I've decided to take the course, and then the person facilitating the course has offered people to sign up to form small groups where we meet also every other week to kind of go through the material and check in with each other. And that's another really beautiful way of doing it, I think, because it's just so much easier to really get the work done and really dive deep when you know you're going to meet a group of people and you will want to have something to share about what you got from the material. And it's just hard to motivate yourself all by yourself sometimes. So that's a really good way for me to dive deeper into that course, and I think I'm definitely getting so much more out of it because of that group than I would have just by myself. So that's cool. And then the third one that I'm in is with a friend that I've initially met online. We have met in real life now, which is also great. And we meet about once a week, also on Zoom. And sometimes we do courses together where we kind of discuss the homework of that week or what has come up with the section. And sometimes we just meet and talk about what's going on in our businesses and support each other, which is also really beautiful. And with that, I'm also really seeing that when we're doing these self-study courses together, or evergreen courses as they're called, it's so much easier for me to really implement what I'm learning in my business, because there's another person that wants to know how I'm doing and what my questions are, and that's just really beautiful. So all this to say, I really think that masterminds can look so many different ways. They can be free. You really don't have to spend any money of them. You can just get clear on what you want out from one and then find some people that you think would work. It could be a small Facebook group in which you share stuff. It could be a WhatsApp group where you're exchanging voice messages. Maybe you want to have one that's email-based, or you could commit to meet regularly in some ways, which I think personally is the most beautiful way of doing it. And I think that's especially beneficial if you don't have a local community of like-minded business owners that you can connect with. So if you have that, obviously that's great. Maybe you want to start a mastermind in a local cafe. But if you don't, then maybe you can find a small group of people with a shared time zone, and see if you want to meet over a certain period of time. And what I would recommend if you're trying to start a mastermind, or you're looking to join one, is to get really clear on what you want from it. Like I said, maybe even make a list and say, I want to feel seen in my decision-making process. I want feedback on my ideas. Maybe you want accountability for implementing something in your business or learning something. Or maybe you just want to feel less lonely in your business and feel like you're really creating this network and community of people that support each other. And then you can make a call out, or you can approach people. And if you do that, I would recommend that you get really clear on the structure that you're trying to create. So it's much easier for the other person to say yes or no to that. So you could say, for example, hey, I noticed your work is really cool. I like what you're doing. I'm wondering if you're interested in joining a mastermind that I'm creating. We're going to meet once a month at roughly this time of the week. And it's going to be in Zoom, and my intention is for us to hold each other accountable as needed in a really gentle way, or provide creative inspiration or share skills. Would you be up for that? So that's way more specific and better than saying, hey, do you want to join some kind of mastermind with me? So I think especially if you're approaching people that you don't know yet, it's good to be really clear. And obviously you can also say, this isn't set in stone, these are just my suggestions. If you're interested but you have other ideas, let me know. I definitely think it's okay to approach strangers, as long as you're prepared to hear a no, that's okay. I have definitely approached strangers on the internet that way. I think as long as you feel connected to their work and you know kind of what they're about, and you can communicate why you're interested in working with them, that's totally fine. It's actually a really beautiful way to do it yourself and not necessarily spend money on some mastermind that someone else has created for you. I will update you also on how I'm kind of restructuring the DIY Small Business School in August, with this new intention to really build community more around my business, because I think that the course I've created is really cool. I'm going to reshoot some videos. There's going to be more worksheets that makes it easier to navigate the content. But I think essentially it is really everything you need to know in order to start a small business, which is great, and it's pretty affordable. But I think we need more connection. So in addition to the expanded video trainings and the worksheets, there will also be weekly journaling prompts that are optional, of course. I'll be offering quarterly in-depth business planning workshops where we're going to meet in small groups and do planning for the next 3 months in our businesses. There'll be 6 interactive live workshops a year, and then there will be monthly group coaching calls. So 22 live calls a year in total. And then you will have the option to meet up in smaller groups. So there'll be an Excel sheet where you can fill your name and intention in and find each other, and you can create a small mastermind if you want to. The school is not open for enrollment at the moment because I'm restructuring stuff behind the scenes, and I'm really kind of talking to people that are currently in it about what they really want and how it could be better. And then it's going to relaunch in August, and I'll of course announce that on the podcast here, but also if you want to be on a waitlist for that, you can just use the form under this episode, and I'll send you an email when I have more information and I'm ready for you to sign up if that's what you want to do. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions about masterminds. I hope that this episode made you feel really excited about the possibility to connect in deeper ways and to go beyond the conversations that we have on Instagram, or go beyond listening to people's podcasts and really create a community that supports you and supports your creativity and your vision as a whole over a period of time, because I think we all need more intimacy and connection. And yeah, so enjoy. Good luck with that. Let us know how it's doing. If you want me to share your shout out, I totally can do that. Just message me. I'd love to hear from you, and I'm wishing you a beautiful day.